afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the commencement lecture on the theme, What Does It Take to Be a Lawyer? And How Can You Change the World for the Better? With immense joy today, we welcome the first-year students of Jindal Global Law School. Welcome. I also extend a very warm welcome to our distinguished guests, students, and members of the faculty and audience who have joined us today. I'm delighted to welcome our chief guest, Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India. Thank you so much, Mr. Bhatia, for joining us today. We are really looking forward to your lecture. I'm also pleased to welcome Professor Dr. C. Rajkumar, Founding Vice Chancellor, OP Jindal Global University. Professor Dabiro Sridhar Patnaik, Registrar, OP Jindal Global University. Professor Dr. S.G. Srijit, Executive Dean, Jindal Global Law School. And Professor Anand Prakash Mishra, Director of Law Admissions, OP Jindal Global University and Vice Dean, Jindal Global Law School. We also have present with us Mr. Bhatia's family, Mrs. Jaspreet Bhatia and Ms. Seher Bhatia. Welcome. To begin with, I invite Professor Dr. S.G. Srijit, Executive Dean, Jindal Global Law School, to please present the welcome address.
Good evening to everyone. Mr. Bhatia, Professor Rajkumar, Professor Patnaik, family members of Mr. Bhatia, my dear students and faculty members. To the students, I'm going to say that we are going to have a very special connect because for your next few years in Jindal Global Law School, you're going to be under my care and supervision. I use the word care and supervision with a consciously constructed sequential order. First of all, you're going to be under my care, followed by you're going to be under my supervision. Generally, people like me, executive deans, vice deans, associate deans, we are known by a very pejorative term, admins. No one likes an admin. I'm sure Juliet would have never loved Romeo had he been an admin. Have you ever heard a word, I like admin? You never hear that. So, departing from the typical language which I use as an admin, let me try to romanticize the JGU campus a little bit. Let me try to romanticize the JGU life a little bit. And there is a lot to romanticize. You perhaps know that this campus is a microcosm of a much larger universe which exists somewhere. In this campus, we all exist as beings. That means that we need to transcend our own existence as individuals here and float here in the beautiful bliss of being. Because this campus, if you look around, this campus has beautiful flora and fauna. I don't know whether you're aware, we have 6 varieties of hibiscus in this campus. We have Singapore plumeria, which actually exudes an extraordinary fragrance when they stand in cluster, or when it rains. We have Indian blanket, we have periwinkle. If you look at periwinkle, it's looked like the nature has pressed a pause button of an otherwise circulating, orbiting flower. We have ixora, we have also leadwort on the campus. Well, these are the flowers which I could identify, and I welcome all the first years to look at that beautiful book in Professor Rajkumar's office called JGU, a Floriography. It's a story of the flowers on campus. These are the things which will transform us from being simple students and faculty members to the beautiful beings of this microcosm called the JGU. We have as trees, beautiful neem. We have gulmohar. Make sure that you inhale the fragrance of the gulmohar when they are strewn on the floor, especially on wet, rainy days and nights. We have jacaranda. We have on campus many neems, and we have also golden shower. I today requested Professor Raj that we should one day have that horse chestnut tree under whose shade you all could sit and study and contemplate. Today, I also, out of my curiosity, checked a little bit more about the flora and fauna on this campus, and I noticed that we have 132,966 species of shrubs and trees on this campus. Aren't we living in such a beautiful microcosm? Many times we don't pay attention in the hustle and bustle of the campus because we are all concerned about our studies, concerned about grades and everything. So let's transform our existence in the Jindal campus into a much more joyful experience. Let's float lightly here. Don't keep yourself so firm to the ground. Float lightly on this campus. When I say float lightly, let me use an analogy from a book which I'm reading right now, which is actually the autobiography of a ballet dancer, Isadora Duncan. She lived from 1877 to 1927. All of you might have seen this ballet dance, very regulated with tight movements like a pirouette, you have arabesque, you have attitude, many regulated, tough movements. Many times you have to make these tough whirlings. Isadora Duncan decided that there is no joy in a ballet. It's too regulated. It's very regimented. So she decided that she will invent new moves in the ballet. So she invented moves like wave and throwing hands at the heaven to show her joy. She transformed an otherwise strictly regulated art like a ballet into a much more joyful experience because she felt that the ballet has to come from within. Even though you actually perform with your body, it has to come from within. My request to all of you is that let the law schooling which you're going to have, let it come from within. Then only the law school would be far more meaningful. That means while you will be learning in the class, of course your professors are going to give you very tough concepts. They'll give you high-end discourses because they are so learned. While you are learning all this, observe your own learning. Observe how your difficulties, the complexities are giving way to beautiful, blissful understandings. And you will see that initially everything will go over your head. Slowly, the sedimentation will start. Sedimentation of knowledge will start, and you will understand that they're not just sediments, rather they are silts of gold which you have accumulated here. So, being in this campus, think, speak, and write beautifully. I'll conclude just by saying that, you perhaps know this, you might have heard about this strange thought that everything that comes out of the human body is impure, and they stink. Blood is impure, sweat is impure, breath is impure, urine is impure, everything is impure. There is only one thing that comes out from the human body which is pure and which can have a fragrance. That's the word we speak. But to speak words with fragrance, we need to have a garden in our mind. And to have a garden in your mind, you need to do what? You need to read. Now, this is the magic word in the law school. Please read. By read, I do not mean the tough readings which your professors are going to give you in the law school. But do read Dickens. Do read Tolstoy. Do read Anita Nair. Do read Emily Bront, Charlotte Bront, Jane Austen. We have these wonderful authors who have submitted wonderful imaginations before us. That will make the law school life more blissful. And the last piece of advice, which I often follow myself, whenever we feel that life is failing us, whenever we feel that life is getting too much into us, take a walk into the JGU campus, because this campus has a unique ability of embracing us. Without we realizing, we'll slowly dissolve into this bliss because we are beings of this microcosm. Congratulations to all of you for being part of this grand story called the Jindal Global Law School, and I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Srijit, for the most poetic and warmest welcome. I now invite Professor Anand Prakash Mishra, Director of Law Admissions, OP Jindal Global University, and Vice Dean, Jindal Global Law School, to please introduce the incoming class of 2024.
So, very good afternoon, everyone. First of all, congratulations, all the students who have been selected for admission and who have joined the campus. I must say it's our honor and rather a tremendous honor and pleasure for me to welcome this amazing class of 1752 students who belong to 5 different academic programs, and that include the 5-year integrated BCom LLB, BBA LLB, and BA LLB programs. That includes 3-year undergraduate degree in legal studies, BA legal studies, and BA criminology and criminal justice program, and our postgraduate programs that include the 3-year LLB program and 1-year LLM program. I have some interesting data and information to share with our chief guest today, and it's an honor to present this amazing and probably the most diverse class in the entire country to you. This class, and I'm very delighted to share few important information, including the fact that for the first time, we have absolute gender diversity in our campus, where 58% of the students admitted this year are women candidates, and 42% are male candidates. I am here for last 13 years. In 2011, when I had joined this university, the law school in particular, I remember very clearly that in some of our programs, the ratio was 60% boys and 40% girls, or 70% boys and 30% girls. The number of students, particularly in postgraduate programs, like 3-year LLB program, I remember, in one particular year, there were only 25% girl students in the entire LLB class. And I'm so delighted to tell you, in every program this year, we have a positive and rather I will say, it's very, very encouraging gender diversity we have, rare in any law school in our country. This class comes from 586 towns and cities and districts of our country and abroad. So, rarely in universities, there are students from each and every state and union territory of India. So we have students from Tripura, Nagaland, Manipur, Goa, Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Meghalaya, almost every union territory, and the entire country all around, including 12 foreign countries. So I doubt, I went to University of Delhi, Campus Law Center, for my own LLB studies. This kind of diversity I could not see even in large law faculty at Delhi University. We have students, 25 applicants we had from United Arab Emirates, but we also had applicants from United States, Singapore, Saudi Arabia, Botswana, Australia, Finland, Canada, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Qatar, as well as, of course, India. So from 12 different countries, we received application this year. Program-wise, I will come to the 5-year integrated program, which is the 3 programs, BCom, LLB, BBA, LLB, and BA, LLB program, where we have admitted 300 students each. For the first time, 58% admitted students are girl students, and 42% are boys. That means 526 students are girls, and 374 are boys in this year's class of 5-year integrated LLB programs. I am absolutely delighted to report to you that 522 students have secured more than 80 percentile score in their LSAT India test, which has been our entrance exam. And 262 students are more than 90 percentile score in the LSAT India test in both January and May exams. In 5-year program, we have also students from New York, Texas, Doha, Qatar, various other cities, and those who have completed their schooling from those places. If I look at the Indian states and cities, for the first time, Bangalore has contributed the highest number of students in our class of 5-year program. And last year it was Mumbai, but this year Bangalore, 112 students have joined the 5-year law program. And second is New Delhi, which has 107. And third is Mumbai. And of course, there are students from Hyderabad, Chennai, Gurugram, Kolkata, and Jaipur, and Noida, and Ghaziabad, Lucknow, Pune, Faridabad, Sonipat, and Kanpur, the other major cities from where we received a student. I actually went through the list of schools from where our students are coming, and I'm absolutely delighted to tell you there is a ranking of schools brought by a very reputed magazine called Education World. And our law school this year has admitted from every school in the top 10 category, be it the residential school, boarding school, day boarding school, whatever category. So we have received students from every top school in this country. Now I will come to our next program, which is the advanced degree which offer, that is the LLM program. And I must say, this year has been unique. and particularly to our chief guest, I would like to inform Jindal Global Law School offers the widest range of specializations. We have 11 specializations in LLM program, and we have admitted 311 students in the LLM class, ranging from corporate financial law, international trade and investment law, taxation, intellectual property law, and even constitutional law, criminal law, ranging from various areas of law. And in all these 11 specializations, 59.2% students are female students, where 40% are male students. Students have come from 238 different law schools, including one foreign law school. There are 19 students from national law universities. There are another 40 from the central universities like University of Delhi, Jamia Millia Islamia, Allahabad University, Aligarh Muslim University, and then various other universities. 238 law schools, including Jindal Global Law School, has contributed to our LLM class. I have no doubt in saying this is probably the strongest and the finest LLM class anywhere in the country. And I doubt, I actually remember when Professor Rajkumar, our founding Vice Chancellor, used to tell me that we were 180 students LLM class in Harvard Law School from different parts of the world. Someday that will happen, but as on today, this could be the most diverse Indian LLM class anywhere in the country. Lastly, I will like to introduce the 3-year LLB program. And we have admitted 300 students. I'm very, very happy to inform you, this includes 95 students from our own BA Legal Studies program, and those who have studied 3 years, the BA degree here, and then joined LLB degree again at Jindal Global Law School. But the remaining 205 students come from 10 different foreign universities. We have graduates from Texas A&M University, University of California, Berkeley, University of British Columbia, University of London, University of Manchester, University of Nottingham, University of Warwick, and there are 69 graduates from University of Delhi, which is actually the second largest number of students. They represent colleges like Lady Shriram, Stephen, almost all major colleges, Daulat Ram, Deshbandhu, Gargi, all major colleges of University of Delhi. At the same time, the LLB class has attracted graduates from almost every part of the country, all major degree colleges, all leading degree colleges in the country. So I'm absolutely delighted as the admission director, as the vice dean of law school. Nobody could be happier than me today when I see all of you here in your starting your journey in the law school. And I'm very sure the leadership in law and judiciary and civil society in our country is going to be with our students, with our graduates in the future. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Mishra, and congratulations. I now invite Professor Dr. C. Rajkumar, founding Vice Chancellor, OP Jindal Global University, to please introduce the university, our law school, and our esteemed chief guest for today's lecture.
Thank you, Srijit. As always, an inspiring speech, and thank you, Anand, for that introduction. Congratulations to the incoming class of 2024. It's my absolute delight and pleasure to extend a warm welcome to all the students who have joined the Jindal Global Law School of OP Jindal Global University, the students who have joined the 5-year law program in all 3 segments, the BCom LLB, the BBA LLB, and the BA LLB, the students of the 3-year LLB program, and of course the students of my one of my favorite programs, the BA Legal Studies and the BA in Criminology and Criminal Justice, and of course our Master's program, LLM program, and also the PhD students as well. Every year, this day is a very special day, a very special moment when we extend a warm welcome to our incoming students with a commencement lecture by a distinguished individual who has shaped the journey of law, who has inspired many young lawyers and continue to inspire both in the legal profession and in the larger public domain. Before I talk about the university and the law school itself, I would like to extend a warm welcome to my very dear friend, Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, the senior advocate of the Supreme Court of India, a very distinguished lawyer, so a round of applause for him. Mr. Bhatia, besides being a distinguished lawyer and also having attained the highest designation in the form of the senior advocate of the Supreme Court of India, he is also relatively young, and the designation was given to him for his extraordinary contributions to the legal profession. As you know, this is not a designation which you just purely attain because you have grown older. You need to be an accomplished lawyer, and the court has to decide to actually give you this designation. But beyond the aspect of law and legal profession that Mr. Bhatia has influenced, he's also a very distinguished public persona, most importantly having closely connected with the political party, but also positions himself as a spokesperson of the party and also creates a lot of, I would say, nuanced discourse in the public domain, especially when he appears on television engaging in important debates and discussions. At a time when the political discourse can potentially be toxic, not just in India but around the world, Mr. Bhatia belongs to that class of people who has brought in so much of sanity as well as intellectual rigor and responsibility to the political discourse. And the fact that he's also an outstanding lawyer makes him the most appropriate person to come to Jindal and to inspire the new students who are just entering into the legal studies, but as well as the profession, barring of course the LLM students who already have completed the law. I just want to begin by saying that, when Anand mentioned about the fact that you're all from over 500 cities of the country and the world, and the fact that you belong to pretty much every part of India, literally from Manipur to Tamil Nadu, and the fact that you also come from different parts of the world, I want to begin by asking a question to all the students here. So, I want to begin with, just anybody can answer the question, raise your hand, but just imagine, say yourself, 10 years ago, did anybody here in the students, did you imagine that at a future time, a decade later, your dream and aspiration will be to go to a university and a law school located in a place called Sonipat in Jagdishpur village in the state of Haryana? How many of you dreamt about that idea? Can you raise your hand? Probably not. See, that's what has happened to India. This is the India that we have changed and we have created and built. People cannot imagine that something like this can actually be created from nothing. So I want to spend the next 10 minutes talking about the story of our university and our law school. I had the privilege to study in two institutions in India, Loyola College Madras and University of Delhi, after which I got the Rhodes Scholarship to go to Oxford. In the year 1998, I was a student like you at Oxford, and I was overwhelmed by the extraordinary education that I was receiving at Oxford. And on numerous occasions, I was wondering that what an extraordinary education this was. But I also asked the question to myself, are there universities like this in India? I was at a college called University College, which was founded in the year 1249, and we were celebrating our 750th anniversary in 1999. And the master of my college was a distinguished British bureaucrat by name Lord Butler. And whenever Lord Butler would speak, he began by saying that we are the oldest college in the English-speaking world. And on one such occasion, I walked up to him and asked him, you always mention this idea of oldest college, because it was founded in 1249, and then he would pause and say, in the English-speaking world. And then, of course, he reminded me about the fact that while Oxford and Bologna are 800 and 900 years old, Indian subcontinent had universities, institutions such as Nalanda, Takshashila, Vallabhi, and Vikramshila, dating over 2,000 years ago. These were not only global institutions where students and faculty came from different parts of the world and from different parts of India. They were also multidisciplinary institutions. In fact, one of our newly appointed professors, Shailendra Mehta, who's a university professor, has been doing research on the extraordinary evolution of universities, including the idea of a first university corporation, which has its early origins in India. So in many ways, this was a very inspiring conversation I had in the year 1998. To cut the story short, I got a few more scholarships to go to Harvard Law School, did my master's in law, and I began to be obsessed with the idea of building a university in India. I spent the next several years, initially as a lawyer in New York, and then taught law in Japan, and then taught law in Hong Kong. And during those years, I wrote a paper entitled Establishing India's First Global University with a law school as the first school within the university. During that time, I also traveled around the world, looked at universities across the world, including in North America, Canada, Western Europe, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Hong Kong, South Korea, Taipei, Japan, as well as China, and was frequenting India. And the more I came to India during the years 2002 and 2006, I was deeply disappointed. I was conscious of the fact that we were mindlessly building more and more institutions with lesser attention to quality, let alone excellence. The expansion of Indian higher education led to an unfortunate situation where quality and excellence was not a paramount consideration. To cut the story short, I wrote this paper and got to meet with an Indian benefactor by name Naveen Jindal in the year 2006. Spent a year persuading Mr. Jindal to do three things. One, to make a substantial financial commitment. Second, to do it in a not-for-profit manner. And third, to let me have the academic freedom, autonomy, and independence to build a world-class university in India. As you know, Mr. Jindal had already fought the flag case, won that case, and essentially was deeply influenced and impacted by the idea of law and justice and what courts and institutions can do to essentially advance new ideas. Because of his act of philanthropy and his deep commitment to academic freedom, he accepted the idea of building a university, and he invited me to move to India. And in late 2007, he accepted all of it. I moved to India in early 2008. January to April 2008, I was trying to understand India myself as I was returning to India after a decade of living abroad. Very quickly, I realized that what an impossible country it is. Nothing works. Systems are so beautifully designed to ensure that so little can be done. But then there was also an enormous appetite for doing things. The aspiration of young people of India was so profound that there was a need for building an institution of global excellence. By April 2008, I quit the job in Hong Kong, took over the head of the initiative, and we began the process of land acquisition, formulation of curriculum, course structure, program development, faculty recruitment plan, student admissions process, hiring of architects, construction engineers, contractors, and persuading the government of Haryana to pass a new law to set up the first private university. On 27 January 2009, the law was passed, and soon after, I was appointed as the first Vice Chancellor of the university. And we continued the journey, essentially recruited faculty, admitted students, and built the campus, and welcomed the first batch of our students on 30th September 2009. It was just 100 students, 10 faculty members, 20 administrative staff, 4 classrooms, 1 academic block with 1 floor and 1 room, which was my office, the office of the 10 faculty members and the 20 administrative staff, which we call the Big Bang Conference Room in the academic block, which is the first academic block you would experience. We never looked back since then. From that day onwards, we began our journey, and we continued to grow and grow and grow more. In 2010 and then onwards, we started the business school, the School of International Affairs, the School of Government and Public Policy, the School of Liberal Arts and Humanities, the School of Journalism and Communication, the School of Art and Architecture, the School of Banking and Finance, the School of Environment and Sustainability, the School of Psychology and Counseling, the School of Languages and Literature, the School of Public Health and Human Development, and that has been our journey so far. We have moved from 100 students in the year 2009 to 13,000 plus students. We moved from literally 10 faculty members to over 1,200 faculty members. We moved from 10 admin staff to 3,000 plus, and we moved from a 50-acre campus to a 100-acre campus. We moved from literally 100,000 square feet of built-up space to nearly 5 million square feet of built-up space. This journey of the university is also the journey of the law school. This year, we are celebrating the 15th anniversary of OP Jindal Global University and Jindal Global Law School, and you are part of the history-making cohort where you will be part of this journey from today onwards. In a way, I want to end by saying that the need to pursue law and the study of law is so deeply embedded in the aspirations of India to be able to establish a society based on the rule of law. I know that you are aware that some of the most important and influential leaders of the Indian freedom movement happen to be lawyers. Mahatma Gandhi was a lawyer, Sardar Patel was a lawyer, Rajendra Prasad was a lawyer, Dr. Ambedkar was a lawyer. In fact, so many of them are lawyers that they laid the foundations of Indian Republic. They imagined the constitution and were conscious of the fact that rights and freedoms ought to be deeply embedded in the constitution. They were so far-sighted as well. At a time when Europeans were considering that whether we should give voting rights to women as late as 1960s, in 1940s, Indian freedom movement leaders were not only recognizing the right of universal adult franchise, but were so far-sighted in recognizing that the right to vote should have no correlation to economic status or, for that matter, any other status, including educational standing. They were so ahead of their times. Such was the extraordinary vision that brought us to the creation of our country, our constitution, and indeed our republic. So there is something to be said about studying law. It is about building the foundations of a future society. It is about recognizing that however high you are, the law is above you. It's about recognizing that speaking truth to power will require a greater degree of courage of conviction. It also requires a deeper sense of personal and professional integrity that can help you in advancing the causes of others, espousing the causes of others. In many ways, there is no greater study than the study of law, as it lays the foundations of our society. It creates new forms of social engagement, social interaction, and build those social institutions that can keep faith and trust in the idea of democracy. Such is the profound nature of the study of law. As you enter the portals of this institution, all I can say is that there is no limit to the possibilities that you have here. I'm happy to report that we have international collaborations with over 500 universities spread across 75 plus countries in the world, with whom we do collaborative endeavors where our first year students, all of you here, can participate. We have numerous programs at Harvard, at Oxford, at Columbia, at Fletcher, at Pace, at Sciences and universities galore. In fact, I invite you to look at our international collaborations brochure, and all of you as first-year students are eligible to participate in these programs around the world. We have clinical program opportunities, advocacy program opportunities, mooting, and a number of other things, including the mooting program that we have for the BA Legal Studies. We have not restricted these programs to any particular segment of our institution. In a way, not even the sky is the limit for you to pursue your goals and aspirations, and I sincerely hope you will do it. In closing, I want to share with you a very special initiative that we have already embarked upon. This year is, of course, very special for us as we celebrate the 15th anniversary of the university. But it's also a special year for the country. India is celebrating the 75th anniversary of the adoption of the Constitution of India. On 26 November 1949, we adopted the Constitution of India after having signed by all members of the Constituent Assembly. This year, on 26 November, we will be celebrating at the 75th anniversary. And so a few months ago, we were thinking about the fact that what should we be doing as a university that can pay tribute to the Constitution founders, but also the strength of our democracy and the evolution of the rights and freedoms that we still steadfastly guard. I am happy to report that we have begun the process of establishing the first of its kind, the only kind, known as the Constitution Academy and the Rights and Freedoms Museum, as our tribute to the evolution of Indian democracy, celebration of rights and freedoms, and the enduring legacy of the constitution makers. This facility is being created as we speak. We have established an outstanding International Board of Advisors with several former Supreme Court judges, 3 former Chief Justices, several distinguished lawyers, anthropologists, sociologists, political scientists, historians, philosophers, and of course, academics who are part of the board. I am so happy to let you know that our chief guest, Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, is also serving as a distinguished member of the International Board of Advisors, and I know for sure that he will be present along with his family on the occasion of 26th November, when we'll be formally dedicating the Constitution Academy and the Rights and Freedoms Museum to the nation and the world at large. With those words, may I invite Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, our distinguished chief guest and speaker for today, to deliver the commencement lecture.
A very good evening to everyone. I must, at the very outset, thank Mr. Rajkumar ji for giving me this honor of being before such an august gathering. And I must say, I take a lot of pride in addressing you today. Pride for the reason there comes a deep belief that from this audience, we will carve out the bright future for our country, India. Such is the talent that is in the room, listening to all of us. You are the future, and I feel privileged to be part of this august gathering. I must also congratulate Professor Shrijit ji. Your words were very inspiring yet again. The way you described the flora and the fauna of this campus, I would say the real flora is right in this room again, and their fragrance is what this university will be remembered by. So this is your real fragrance and flora. You have to nourish it. And I'm sure they're in very safe hands. They're in very good company. And thus, I must congratulate you. You have a real task in hand, but I'm sure by the end of 5 years and 3 years, you would definitely be successful in giving them a vision, a path, so that they can serve the country. I was also hearing Professor Anand Mishra ji, and the way you described the pooled talent of this university. I must say that we are lucky to have such a university in India. For the opportunities that you create, for the avenues that you give to these young students. I have myself studied in the US, and with a lot of pride today I say that when we used to go abroad and study there was a feeling that American and UK universities are better than universities here. I was taking a little tour of the university campus. You people are so privileged. The campus is great. You have a great faculty, and I'm sure you will make great friends that would always stand with you throughout your life. So nobody can be luckier than you people. Shape your destiny, carve it in a way that you make everyone proud of you, your parents, your families, everyone. Why is Jindal Law School so special? From a point of view of a citizen who's not been a student of this university, but it is all about ethos and principles, because the topic says, what does it take to be a lawyer? A lawyer is also a guardian of the rights of the society, the constitution of the country, the rule of law. And I must tell you that there is a famous case, the case of Union of India versus Mr. Naveen Jindal. What does it say? The fundamental rights that Dr. Ambedkar Sahab said is the soul of the Constitution. A citizen, extraordinary citizen he is in the profession that he is in, but at the same time, for the vision that he had, he said, I am a law-abiding citizen. I believe in the Constitution. And the tricolor, the Tiranga that we see, it is my right as a citizen to hoist the tricolor. This right was not available up till 2004, if I recollect correctly. The Honorable Supreme Court, in a landmark judgment, they interpreted the article of freedom of speech and expression. And such profound words, I would like to quote them before you, because this is a thought that should stay with you. The importance of the tricolor, Tiranga. The Honorable Supreme Court said this. It said, before we proceed further, it may be remembered that from time immemorial, people have laid down their lives with a view to salute their own flag. What is so compelling in the piece of cloth called the national flag, that people make even the supreme sacrifice for its sake. National flag indisputably stands for the whole nation, its ideals, aspirations, its hopes, and achievements. Now, this is a university. While I was entering, we saw the tricolor proudly displayed. And I could think of Paramveer Chakra recipient Captain Vikram Batra. The supreme sacrifice he made, the patriotism that he had, and what did he say before the Kargil war? He said, I am going to fight for the country, for the tricolor. And either I will hoist the tricolor on that hill, or my body, my mortal remains, will come wrapped in it. But I will come back. And when I say this, I want to tell you, this is the reason why Bharat and India stand tall. Bharat is the largest democracy in the world. We are a country, in spite of its challenges, have seen people from various hues and shades holding the highest offices of the Constitution. We have seen president who's been a woman. We've seen a president from the minority. Then comes the prime minister's post. We have seen a minority prime minister. We have seen a woman prime minister. And we have also seen a minority Chief Justice of India. And I'm very happy to share with you that we will also see very soon the first woman Chief Justice of India in 2027, I guess, Justice Nagaratna. So this is the kind of progress that we are making. And when you say, what is a lawyer? My experience has been, lawyer is definitely about the knowledge that he has, about reading, about updating yourself. But it is important to understand the first quality that a good lawyer should have. And do you know what that quality is? The quality is of integrity, of a reputation which is matchless, where you don't run after money because money is a residue. It will follow you. But you have a larger vision for the country. You lead from the front, like the freedom struggle Mr. Raj was referring to. But there is a larger purpose and a larger goal. And as a lawyer, as a foot soldier of the Supreme Court of India, as a politician, I believe that the idea has to be set at the highest. Selfless service to the nation. And there can't be any profession but law to ensure that you serve society, you serve your fellow brethren, and that is the purpose of being in this profession. People say law is very powerful. Law is powerful for a reason. Law can turn a man into a woman into a man. It's through legal fiction. A legal fiction can turn a man into a woman and a woman into a man. We are still struggling to turn men and women into good human beings. But law is able to turn a man into a woman. And there is a famous judgment by the Honorable Supreme Court where the judge says that when law is turning a man into a woman or vice versa, you don't question it. You just accept it. This brings me to the next part about law. Books were being spoken about. There is a book, Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. And what does it say? There is a character called Mr. Bumble. And Mr. Bumble is charged with the charge of theft. Now, he was advised that the law supposes that your wife is under your control and she is committed theft. At that time came the famous phrase, he said, the law is an ass. Nobody's wife is under the control of a man. This is from that story. So it's regularly used, law is an ass. There are people who would come out and say that law is a very noble profession. And there are majority of the ordinary citizens or people who are not into law, lawyers, they would say, no, it's not a very noble profession. Please stay away from lawyers, your life would be sorted out. So, there is a joke about this. How can you tell when lawyers are lying? And the answer goes, their lips are moving and when they open their mouths. How can you tell when lawyers stop lying? The answer is, they stop breathing. So this is the unnoble part of it. Everybody assumes lawyers indulge in acts that are not noble. So while I was preparing for this speech, from my experiences, I tried to take out the pearls. Experiences that have shaped my life, my profession. And I thought that as young law students, as future of the country, and I say it with a lot of responsibility, with a lot of faith reposed in your ability to change our country for the better, I would cite the character, integrity, and qualities that are required for a law student and for lawyers. So the first one, and please pay attention, I think it would help you all throughout your 5 years, 3 years while you're pursuing law, and even after that. First is commitment. Now, the best example of commitment to the field of law serving the country is this. A lawyer was arguing a case, and it was a case where the judge had to decide the fate of certain convicts. He had to decide whether to affirm death sentence or commute it to life. While he was arguing the matter, an assistant walked up to him. He gave a chit to this lawyer. He read the chit. He kept the chit inside his pocket. And after that, he continued to argue for quite some time. Then there was a break. The court reassembled after the break. So the judge was quite curious. So he asked the lawyer, he said, some person came in and he gave you a chit. I hope all is well. So he continued to argue and finished his matter. When the matter ended, the judge again asked him, I hope everything is fine. He was sulking and he said, no, my wife had died. I just got the news. So the judge was really pained and he asked, if your wife just passed away, why didn't you tell me? I would have adjourned the matter. He said that my wife passed away, I could not have brought her back. But the matter that I'm arguing, I am to save the lives of these individuals. So I thought it is my duty to continue to argue. This lawyer, this man, was Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. The commitment to be honest to your client, to do what you have been destined to do, change somebody's life for the better. Second is, all of us have our qualities. We are all roses, but there are thorns as well. There are shortcomings too. Can challenges be turned into advantages? It's a very important part of life. There will be people who are outstanding orators. There will be people who are not so outstanding. There are people who read well, who grasp well. There are people who converse very well and grasp from their friends. They rely on the notes made by their friends. And before the exams, they will say, can I please borrow your notes? I want to make a photostat of it. So there are all sorts of people. So is there a fixed set of rules that these kinds would succeed, the others wouldn't? In adversity lies opportunity. And I will tell you, there was a brilliant student. He topped all his exams, but he had a handicap of stammering. He worked on it. His father said, you please don't become an arguing counsel. This man said, no, I revolt. I have faith in my ability. He worked on the handicap. He became one of the best lawyers of the country. He's respected by all, and I'm sure in the next 5 years, he'll be your best friend. And after that, when you become a lawyer, he'll be your mentor. His name is Nani Palkiwala. Adversity turned into opportunity, sheer grit and determination. If I have dreamt, I will achieve it, no matter what. If I have to do it alone, I'll do it alone. If my family supports me, it's even better. Third, the respect for the client, duty towards the client. This is a case of 2019. I witnessed it. I was also part of it. A senior lawyer at the age of 90, was arguing in the court, Supreme Court of India. And after a few days, we noticed every time he would come to argue, he would take off his shoes. He would stand there in reverence for the court, argue the case, and he was brilliant. I'll give you a hint, former Attorney General for India. His deep devotion for the cause and the client. And he was asked a question by a journalist after he had completed his arguments in the case. He was asked, will you win? Will you win the case? He said, and I quote him, the arguments that I delivered in the Ram Mandir case in Supreme Court in 2019 is due to my love for Lord Rama. It was due to my faith, devotion and dedication for Lord Ram. I do it for Ram only. This lawyer is K. Parasaranji. At 90, he stood for 4.5 hours every day arguing, and for days. Reverence and respect for the job that you're doing. Your ideology may be anything. And Rajji said that I belong to a political party, very proudly so. But when I'm wearing two hats, one of a senior advocate and also of a politician, my responsibility also is double. So I respect the views of every student who is here. You may criticize me. You may condemn me. Evelyn Beatrice said that you may disagree with me, but I will give my life for your right to disagree with me. That is the commitment I have for the right to dissent that you have. The next example is something that you would even relish more. A 17-year-old, before the country was partitioned, he got his bachelor's of law degree. Now the sharp mind that he was, always inquisitive, he realized that he's got his bachelor's degree in law, but he can't practice. Because the Bar Council rules at that time said that you have to be 21 to practice. Now that meant he had to wait for 4 years before he could show his argumentative skills. So he wrote to the Chief Justice. He said that when I had enrolled for the law program, the rule wasn't that you can only practice after attaining the age of 21. It has been changed during the course that I was pursuing. So I should be allowed to practice. The Chief Justice said, I would like to meet this young lawyer. The young lawyer met the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice asked him, why can't you wait for 4 years? He said, sir, you have to understand, I believe that I am the best. Why should I wait? A rule cannot be changed to my disadvantage once I have started pursuing a course. The Chief Justice was impressed and he requested the then equivalent of the Bar Council to consider his case. And I must tell you that this young persuasive lawyer got his first brief at 18. This lawyer was late Ram Jethmalani ji. I take his name with a lot of reverence. With a lot of reverence. I've briefed him myself. And now, the age of selfie, we see a celebrity walking in. Everybody goes to the celebrity, selfie le le, selfie le le. I've seen it myself. Ram Jethmalani ji in 2002, when I started my career in this profession, walking out of the Chief Justice of India's court, court number 1 as we call it, and around 50 law students rushing up to him with their autograph books and saying, sir, please sign kar dijiye. That was his charm, his respect and reverence. And everyone has their first love. My first love is sitting here. Ram Jethmalani ji's first love. The Home Ministry is always more powerful than the Law Ministry. So, you know, while I'm sharing these experiences with you, I'm reliving those moments. I remember Ram Jethmalani ji with a lot of reverence, respect, and he was actually the Bhish Pitama of our bar. I've seen Chief Justices of India. If he used to walk inside the court, they used to say, you can't be waiting, please tell us which number case is yours and we'll take it up. He was called the Bhish Pitama of our legal fraternity. And look at the love of his first life. It started at 17. When he passed away, he was 96. So around 79 years. He loved law. He loved rule of law. He loved the Constitution. He loved the country. He loved the legal fraternity. That was Ram Jethmalani for you. These are the footsteps that you have to follow. These are the footsteps you have to follow, such as the benchmark. And I can tell you with a lot of confidence that all of you are capable of becoming the next generation's Ram Jethmalani, K. Parasaran, Narimans. It is in you. You have to believe in yourself. And that is why when I was asked to deliver this speech, I would say it's an interaction. Just like your faculty sitting here, just like Mr. Raj, we believe in you. Even sky is not the limit for you. All of you will do very well. Last but not the least, I'll give you one more example, very pertinent. The message is, be alert in court, be well-read, please underline, and most importantly, have the courage to say what you believe in. Always. It was, I think around 2008, 2009, I was in court number 2, that's the next senior most judge after the Chief Justice of India. A young lawyer was arguing his matter. And it's on a miscellaneous day. Miscellaneous day for all of you, I would tell you, is Monday and Friday in the Supreme Court of India, when you get a very short and sweet hearing. Sweet because before you were able to complete your line, the matter is dismissed, with a smile coming from the honorable judge. So the young lawyer was arguing the matter, and the division bench, that is bench of 2 judges, said, we don't think we need to issue notice, that is notice that means matter will be heard, and we will not stay. In the second row, there was a senior advocate. He stood up. And I still remember, look at his power. So from 1950, the Supreme Court judgments have been recorded after the Supreme Court was constituted. And I'm talking about 2008. So it's already like 58 years of judgments. This brilliant lawyer gets up and he says, Your Lordships, if you dismiss this matter, you will be doing grave injustice. So everybody was shocked. He was preparing for his matter. How is he concerned about another matter? He said, no, please open AIR 1958 SC 222, whatever the number was. The law that has been laid down is not being followed by this honorable bench. The bench asked for that book. It was opened. The senior advocate was right. Now this senior advocate later on became the judge of the Supreme Court of India, the brightest mind that we have seen. I had the fortune of briefing him also, and that is Rohinton Nariman. Remembering cases, the law, and I am telling you, not exaggerating, rather I am understating it, the brilliance of that man. He could tell the judges that you're wrong. You're not even aware of the law. Please read the law. Such kind of courage is the quality of a lawyer. And I'm sure that all of you, you have to just nurture that quality, and it will take you a very long way in life. Now, there are some challenges. The challenges definitely are a lot of study, late night sessions. You have to sometimes even sacrifice your social life, less parties, everything. Balanced lifestyle would be there, but a lot of sacrifice would also be there. It's a sine qua non to become a brilliant lawyer that you have to spend time with yourself, and you have to read a lot. Now, law is such a profession. Imagine, why do I say that the responsibility on you is immense? The reason is this. If today, in today's world, a brother would walk up to, say, an individual and say, please sign on the blank sheet. The brother would say, can you come back tomorrow? Then he'll make a call to his counsel and say, oh, blank paper pe sign kara raha hai. But clients, when they come, and the lawyer, the advocate on record in the Supreme Court or any other lawyer, they would offer blank sheets, not a healthy practice, but I'm telling you they do. And it is signed by the client. Utmost faith in the relationship between the lawyer and the client. And that is why you have a greater responsibility. You must have heard of the famous phrase, जब कुछ नहीं चलता है तो लोग कहते हैं तो मैं कोर्ट में देख लूंगा. ये कोर्ट में जो देख लूंगा है, ये इसीलिए है, where everything else fails. The courts step in, lawyers step in. Such is this noble profession. The power, barring the power of the white coat, people who are practicing medicine, doctors, barring that, being an advocate is the only profession where you can save a life. I've seen it happening. A 70-year-old man touching the feet of a lawyer who's half his age out of respect and reverence because this young lawyer saved the life of his son. Or a mother who was fighting for justice for the honor that was mutilated by a criminal and a verdict of the Supreme Court delivered, life sentence given. She is crying with tears of happiness. Power of the black coat, power of this profession. You will not find it anywhere else. And that is why it is important that since you've been given so much of power, you have to exercise it with a lot of responsibility. We must also remember, I spoke about Mr. Sirvai, Mr. Palkiwala. There's one more aspect that I want to add, and I have touched it a little bit. I'll emphasize on it, because this is a beautiful phrase that I want to share with you. It's important. Mr. Sirvai, whose Constitutional Law of India book, again is the reference point even for judges in the Supreme Court, had also emphasized on the quality of asking questions. And why? I am just quoting what he said in his book. It is very relevant. Please hear it very attentively. I realize that some of my criticisms may be mistaken, but to refuse to criticize judgments for fear of being mistaken is to abandon criticism altogether. If any of my criticisms are found to be correct, the cause is served, and if any are found to be incorrect, the very process of finding out my mistakes must lead to the discovery of the right reasons or better reasons than I have been able to give. And the cause is served just as well. Such profound words. So, such an important aspect of our profession where you raise questions that are relevant and without fear. Now, in the end, I would, that man behind me is saying, kitna time aur baki hai. So, I'll keep it very short and crisp, but very, very important aspects to be still touched. And with your permission, I am going forward. There will be reasons, there will be excuses. In the next 3 years, 5 years, you will find reason not to do something. There is an excuse. This happened, so I couldn't do it. Everything was done, lekin last minute mein ye ho gaya. That should never define you. I know of a lawyer. His father passed away. He was aspiring to be the advocate on record. And you all know there is an exam for that conducted by the Supreme Court of India. Now, the gap was only 10 days for preparation. He had a buddy, everybody has a buddy. So both of them decided to study together. But because of the demise, the friend called this lawyer and he asked, what should we do? He said, I am not in a state of mind. You go ahead and give your exam. I'll skip it this year. Probably next year I'll give it. I'll appear and write the exam. So the friend says, like a true friend, तो फिर इस साल मैं भी छोड़ देता हूँ, मैं भी अगले साल दूंगा. But the story doesn't end there. After 3 days, the lawyer calls his friend. He says, I thought about it. I have lost my father, but a true tribute to my father would be if I appear in the exam. So the two lawyers started preparing for the exam. Both of them appeared. And guess what? Both of them cleared the exam in the first attempt itself. Adversity conquered. Now this lawyer is standing before you and exchanging his viewpoint with you. And I don't share this as a matter of boasting. I share this because I know this experience will ensure that when one of you is going through a tough phase in life, you will ask yourself, what are you made up of? What is the metal? How much courage do you have? Can you conquer this problem that you are facing? And that is the only reason, with utmost humility, I'm sharing this experience. That there will be problems in life, but all great men, and I'm not great, I'm learning, but all the other 5 examples I gave you, those examples have been given because I've read about them, I look up to them, and their character is so strong, so sterling, that I would want that people in this hall should emulate their feat. We should have character which is similar to theirs. Now, in the end, a very crisp, some cardinal rules which will help you navigate in life in this profession. One, always remember the institution is always bigger than an individual. Always. No matter who your idol is, no matter who you revere, no matter how perfect you think your guru is, everyone is below the institution that has been carved out by hundreds of thousands of lawyers, brick by brick, judges, media persons, academicians. That is how the Supreme Court of India is one such institution that has withstood all the tests. And it is amongst one of the most credible institutions in the country. So always remember, it is the institution which is greater than any individual. I've already emphasized on the part that money is a residue. Please, the real goal is, purpose is the pursuit of justice. You have to ensure that you are able to wipe the tears of a common man. You are able to bring a smile to somebody's face. Somebody should look up to you and say that yes, you are part of the fraternity which is enshrined in the preamble of the Constitution. Third, needless to say, continuous learning, lots of books, more than the parties that you will have, more than the movies that you will watch. Lots of new books, read. It will inspire you. Next, I've already emphasized, again reiterating, the value of integrity, of your reputation. And when Dr. Raj was speaking, I could relate to it for a reason. He said that we started this beautiful journey with a few individuals, lack of resources, and now it is one of the most reputed university of the country and the world. What does it show? It shows that where you don't compromise on your ideals, you stick to your plan. तो किसी शायर ने कहा है और मैं अर्ज कर दूं, अकेला ही चला था जानिबे मंजिल, अकेला ही चला था जानिबे मंजिल, लोग आते गए कारवा बनता गया. So that is for you, Dr. Raj. The opportunities, I would say, are immense. And I'm sure that after visiting this university, my daughter, she is sitting here, the other word to be emphasized upon is world. To my wife and to me and to many others, she is the world. Just the way you are the world for your parents. So if you ask yourself, why do I have to strive to be the best in my field? I would say, for those who consider you their world. You owe it to them. For all the hugs that you got from your dad when you were feeling low, for your mom's sacrifices where she is trimming her wings to ensure that you fly high, for your siblings, for your friends, you have to give them that moment of pride where they can stand in the BJP language 56 इंच की छाती के साथ और कहें ये मेरा बेटा है या मेरी बेटी है. And no politics in this. So, in the end, I would say that it is as much a learning experience for me. I get to visit a lot of universities. I speak on various forums. But to be speaking to all of you is an honor. And I will be very satisfied as an individual, even if all of you can imbibe 1% of what I've shared with you. I know you are capable of absorbing 100% of what I have said. अब आप लोगों की शान में भी एक शेर अर्ज कर देता हूं. I like, delivering couplets. उन्हें गुमा है, your detractors. उन्हें गुमा है कि तुम्हारी उड़ान कम है. उन्हें गुमा है कि तुम्हारी उड़ान कम है. तुम्हें यकीन है कि पूरा आसमान कम है. And always remember in tough times, in good times, ये आपकी शान में कहा है, हम वो दरिया हैं जिसे अपना हुनर मालूम है. हम वो दरिया हैं जिसे अपना हुनर मालूम है. हम जिस तरफ चल देंगे रास्ते बन जाएंगे. So, okay, so it means he's saying a quick translation also. So, good. I would put it in a different way. Between the stream and the rock, it is always the stream that prevails and wins. Not through strength, but through perseverance, through tenacity. So that is the English sum and substance of what I said. Always remember, this is just a beginning. There will be highs, there will be lows. As long as you stick to the plan, you will prove most of the people, your detractors, wrong, and you will emerge victorious to conquer the world and be the best lawyer in the country, not the second best. With those words, thank you, Dr. Raj, for inviting me. The gracious staff and all the professors, teachers who are sitting here, to the august audience that I addressed, it has been a privilege. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I'm sure that you being my family will again remember me and invite me to share your joys and moments of pride. Thank you.
I have a great pleasure and privilege on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, the University, and everyone to thank Mr. Bhatia for his inspiring lecture and for all the lived experiences. Those present here, these are like pearls of wisdom that can put you on a path to success. And I keep saying this to all students whom I meet, that university education is not just about classroom education. And as Mr. Bhatia also mentioned towards the end and as part of the Q&A, it's very important for you to have an overall experience, right? So it's not just about the academic experience alone. Be kind to yourself, I keep saying this. And this university can provide you the right kind of academic guidance and even the pastoral care and support. So therefore, whenever you have any kind of academic and co-curricular and other concerns, please to approach the school and the relevant offices, be it the Office of Student Housing, my own office, and in addition to that, you will have the fullest ecosystem to develop as a well-rounded individual and to contribute to the society. On this particular note, I thank you all for being a part of this session, the wonderful lecture given by you, Mr. Bhatia, and congratulations to each one of you for joining the JGLS at a very defining time. So thank you all. I thank the Vice Chancellor for his leadership, and even as the Dean of the Law School, the Executive Dean, Professor Srijit, my colleague from the admissions, the Vice Dean, Professor Anand Prakash Mishra, and all the deans who are present here, Stephen Marks, Dean of the School of Public Health and Human Development, Professor Sudarshan from the School of Government and Public Policy, and Vice Dean Admissions, Nisha Nair, and everyone, and Surabhi for the wonderful job. Thank you all.